Hello there. So, are you ready? What month am I in? I'm still in April. May. So, are you ready for Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter all to go retrograde? Because guess what? They are all in the same week. Saturn goes retrograde on the 11th, Venus the 13th, and Jupiter on the 14th. So, and Pluto. Yes, and Pluto went retrograde in April. So we got a total of 4 major planets in retrograde. 3 all going in the same week. So if Saturn, Venus, or Jupiter get to you, you're going to be feeling this in the upcoming months. Last time Venus was in retrograde. Oh my God. The watery angst I was in was so just watery and angstful and like, oh, stop me now. Please stab me. It was intense. Saturn, Jupiter, I really just don't feel. Saturn was okay. Saturn had intensities, but Venus, I remember, was like, oh my God, please. And it went direct, even with the shadow. I was like, oh my God, it feels so much better. The thing with retrograde planets, we tend to always just hear about Mercury, which is the most common one because it goes 3 to 4 times a year. So it happens, on a regular basis. The others tend to be a bit slower, and some of them happen on an annual basis, and like Venus did not happen last year. I was really happy not to have a Venus retrograde in 2019 because 2018 was so miserable. We are having one in 2020 though, and I'm a little more prepared than I was for that 2018 one because that was the first year I started paying attention to how retrogrades impacted my life other than Mercury. It's a very interesting thing to watch. So Saturn, what are we looking at with Saturn? So I see Saturn, he's like the dude, it's like, he's the dude who ate his kids. Bad digesting because he never digested them. He's a god, what the hell? I don't know. So, it's like, because Saturn, Kronos, and yeah. So Saturn for me is always like, are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Are you just getting rid of it because you think it's going to be problematic and impact your life? And so you're just like, bye, I'm done with you, over it, bye-bye. You can just throw it all out. Get rid of it. And the thing we have right now with that is, oh my God, I just threw out that really good idea. And then 3 months later, you're like, why did I get rid of that really good idea instead of developing the really good idea? Because Saturn was like, just throw the baby away with the bathwater. And so you did. Venus, watery, emotions, messy. Everything you feel like, all those emotions that kind of like, it's like teenage years. All those things in the teenage years that made you feel like not enough, not this, not that, bubble up, bubble up. And then they take over your life and you're a watery mass until Venus goes direct. Not fun, unfun, don't want to go there, gonna work it. Is what I plan on doing this year. I don't know how it impacts you, but that is really the feeling, though. It's like all these old things that you're like, yeah, I kind of dealt with that stuff like 100 years ago, but now it's back, full force in my face. Why are you here? Can you please leave me alone? And then they won't leave you alone, and you're just, yeah. That's what Venus can have in store for you. So you want to watch that. Where are those emotions coming from? And a lot of times, one of the things you can do, especially if you're not sure how you're responding to a retrograde, is let it surface. Simply experience what's going on for that one where you're starting this process of like, what happens to me during such and such retrograde? Just let it process. Let it come up. Let it surface. Feel the angst. Try not to get too caught up into it. I know in 2018, oh my God, it took me down hardcore. It was just, it was a rough period. That was a rough period during that retrograde. So you want to watch out for what it's bringing up. Try not to get too caught up in it if you can. Sometimes it's hard. So Jupiter's our third offender for the week, for the month, the week, month, week, month. Mm-hmm. And Jupiter is a leader. He's all about leadership. And there's two ways leadership can go. It can be really good and inspiring and make you want to be like that person. And you're like, yes, we're going to take over the world with hope and potential. And then there's the other form of leadership that's like, yeah, no. We're going to oppress you. We're going to put our little finger down on you. You're nothing. You should do that. Don't do this. There's the good leader, and then there's bad leadership. And really watch out for that bad leadership aspect right now, because that is a really easy place to go into destructo mode with this kind of energy. It's like Emperor in the Tarot. It has that similar kind of energy. And Jupiter retrograde can take you into the I'm just going to go burn the building, scorch the earth, burn it all down. And then you got Saturn plowing out babies with bathwaters, and Venus, who has you in a quagmire of emotion. And then you're scorching everything down to the ground. And when it's all said and done, and you come out the other side of these retrogrades, and you're like, and Pluto's like, oh yeah, let's go to the underworld while we're at it, because he's in retrograde too last month. So there's a lot of intense potential, and it can go really, really right, or it can go really, really wrong. And I'm aiming for really, really right. And that's kind of how the retrograde forecast started, and they are now currently part of the Cosmic Shadowlight forecast subscription. So if you really want to work these energies, I suggest you sign up for that subscription. You can do a monthly or an annual, because the annual you do save a bit of cash, but these are going to give you the guides of how to work this, rituals to work it, tarot spreads of how to work it, to really give you those resources and benefit from my experience, my experiments with retrogrades for the last 2 years of working with them and seeing what you can do with them to transform and working beyond the Mercury retrograde. So yeah, there's so much potential here. There's so much potential for really good stuff if you're paying attention to where it's taking you and not getting caught up in the BS of it all. So yeah, so definitely check out the Cosmic Shadowlight forecast for more information on these 3 retrogrades. There'll be 3 forecasts with it, plus monthly collective energy reading. There's a ritual prompts, PDF talking about what's going on each month, workshops and rituals. You get access to, there's like last year's and this year's now, so there's a lot going on in the Cosmic Shadowlight forecast that is really useful and fun to use and applicable. And the idea is to make the spirituality yours, not some cookie cutter thing. What works for you? How can we get this working the best way for you? So, alrighty everyone, go out there and be the love in the world, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.